Hello and welcome to episode number 20 of the Daily Dog. I'm your host, Britton Hess, and I'm here to give you my favorite Underdog plays for Friday, June 28th, 2024. If you're new to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code DailyDog for an up to $250 deposit match bonus. Again, that's promo code DailyDog on Underdog Fantasy or the Underdog Fantasy app. All right, let's get right into it. Let's get to the plays. Going to start out by doing a soft fade on my guy Max Scherzer, my dichromatic brother. If you don't see me, if you're one of the majority of this audience that only is on audio, you can't tell that I have two different colored eyes, but I do. Max Scherzer does. He's my boy for that reason, but unfortunately I'm going against him here in a soft fade, which is higher than half of a hit allowed in the first inning against the Orioles. Scherzer came out like gangbusters in his first start versus the Royals. He went 5 innings, only allowed 1 hit. Looks like he's going to have, a storybook second half to this season. But Max has been around for a while. I've seen him enough. I've been in the nerfy streets with Max Scherzer enough to know that dude can get taken advantage of in the first inning when he comes out super jacked up. And then, if he's a guy that's like, he can allow 1 or 2 runs in the first inning and then go 8 and allow 3 total, So it's not necessarily a soft fade of his ability. I don't think he's going to be bad. I just think that the Orioles are a tough team to start a game against. It's a tough road game for Scherzer here. The Royals are number 15 in average versus righties, where the Orioles are number 6. The Orioles are number 1 in slugging versus righties. KC is number 13. So it's definitely a different matchup. Yes, they're definitely a better team. And let's just look at the top of the order batting average, or let's go slash line versus righties for the top of this Orioles order. Henderson 292, 371, 644. Rutschman 241, 305, 382. O'Hearn 294, 353, 493. Mountcastle 267, 309, 461. Santander 215, 274, 481. All right, so basically there's 2 guys that are kind of scary for Scherzer there, and it's Gunnar and O'Hearn. Obviously, the other 3 guys I listed can all hit anybody on any day, but I'm hoping that, I'm targeting Gunnar or O'Hearn to get this first inning hit here. Our worst nightmare when we do these types of plays is a fly-out walk and then grounded a double play, so we're going to be fading that. We just need somebody to get a knock against Scherzer in the first inning. Like I said, nothing personal. I think Scherzer's still awesome. I just think that this is only a 0.9x multiplier for him to allow a hit in the first inning versus this Orioles team. I think there's a little bit of an overreaction off of the hot start that Scherzer showed against the Royals. So let's fade him there. Soft fade, like I said. I don't necessarily think he's going to get blown apart in this game or get pulled early. Let's just get a hit in the first inning. Next, we are going to Copa America, and we are not going for a star goal scorer. We're not going for an assist prop. We're taking Marquinhos of Brazil to have higher than half of a tackle against Paraguay. So Marquinhos is a guy that's been around forever. He's 29, but he's been playing high-level European soccer since he was 20, 19, something like that. I think his number of 0.5 tackles at an 0.85x multiplier is a huge discount, and I'm not really sure why. In Brazil's first game in Copa America, he had 4 tackles, and he's a guy that plays a ton of minutes. So I ran through some of these stats. So he's averaged higher than 1.0 tackles per 90 minutes played in the 2022 World Cup. So that's like the last big international competition where that mattered. He's averaged higher than 1.0 tackles per 90 minutes played in the last 8 years for PSG, and in domestic league. So the 8 years straight, he's averaged higher than 1 tackle per 90 minutes played with PSG in the domestic league, Ligue 1. And then in Champions League in the last 8 years, he's averaged higher than 1.0 tackles in 7 of 8 of the last years. So I'm going really macro with this and just thinking he's a center back. He's one of the best center backs in the world and has historically been great. This number just seems off to me. The threat is that somehow the opposition never gets in the attacking third. But, it's a long game. There's got to be a chance for someone to get on him and for Chance Marquinhos to take a ball off of an opponent. Let me see. What else did I pull up for this guy? So yeah, in 17 starts in 2024 across all competitions, international, domestic, and international cup matches, He's had 17 starts where tackles have been tracked. He has 1+ tackle in 14 of those. He plays 90 minutes a ton. I think it's 14 out of 18 games in 2024 across all competitions. So yeah, Marquinhos should be in this for the long haul, and he should be getting a tackle. If they get in the attacking third at all, this guy is going to take care of business. Next, we are going to go back to baseball. We're taking Freddie Freeman, higher than 1.5 total bases versus Logan Webb at the Giants. Righty versus lefty matchup, obviously, with Freddie being the lefty in that scenario. And Freddie's a scorcher, 1.1x to get higher than 1.5 total bases here. I know that I've talked highly of Logan Webb in the past. He's still one of my guys. We won a slip, or we at least got a winning pick on a slip a couple weeks back when he had a ridiculous number of hits allowed versus the Rangers, and we played the under and came home. But since that game, he's allowed 7, 6, and 9 hits. So I was just saying the value's there for a guy like Freddie Freeman, who can get a couple singles in a game. He can get a double. I mean, he's one of the all-time doubles leaders in MLB, or at least in recent history. And he can also hit home runs. I mean, he's got a little bit of power. Obviously, he's not like a 40 home run guy, but he can get it out of the park. And he's obviously played at Oracle in San Francisco plenty of times. Form for Freddie right now is excellent. He's got higher than 1.5 total bases in 4 consecutive games in 7 of his last 10. Versus righties, he's batting a cool .337, slugging .584. So yeah, I think that this is a good spot for him to get higher than 1.5 total bases versus Logan Webb. These 3 plays together, which are Freddie Freeman higher than 1.5 total bases, Marquinhos higher than half a tackle, and Max Scherzer higher than half of a hit allowed in the first inning, come together for a 5.04x return on your money. So $10 is 50 and 40 cents, $100 is 504. I love these plays. I think we're kind of under the radar here. We didn't all load up on baseball, and I think again the Marquinhos number is a very attractive one. I think that's way too low. And I was looking at sports books and trying to see what they have this at. I saw a slight plus money on 2+ tackles for him, and then I saw 1 tackle at -157, which actually I think is still cheap. And I bet by the time that this game gets off, that is going to be much higher, because I don't think a lot of people are entering that market this early in the process. So that is that. Now we're going to go to the Daily Dong, the new craze that's sweeping the nation, where I give out my home run picks for the day. Yesterday we had Byron Buxton, was one of our guys. He came home. He was about +400 on Sportsbook. So if you are in a jurisdiction where you can just bet these straight up and aren't having to tie them together, that's not a bad way to go about it, because I'm not going to be playing, Aaron Judge type numbers every day, and as evidenced by the 4-1 on Byron Buxton that came home for us. Unfortunately, I'll get into the recap of yesterday later. So let's go into my dongs for Friday on the Daily Dong segment. Number 1, Anthony Santander, higher than half of a home run against the Scherzer. Like I said, Scherzer's a guy who can give up 4 hits in a game, 3 runs, and those are just 3 solo shots. And Santander has done well versus Scherzer in the past. Kind of a short sample size, 7 at-bats, 7 plate appearances, but 2 home runs in those 7 at-bats. It's going to be the high 80s, winds about 15 miles per hour out to left field in this game. So yeah, I'm going to take, the 15 mile per hour wind out to left field is actually in another game coming up. So it's still going to be nice though in Baltimore for this game. 15 of Santander's 21 home runs on the season have come versus righties. And that is the analysis there. Next, we're going to target a pitcher, Tristan McKenzie, who's allowed 17 home runs in 15 starts this year, 8 home runs in his last 5 starts. He's starting against Kansas City at Kauffman. He allowed 3 home runs in his last start versus KC earlier in June. That was to Bobby Witt twice and to Hunter Renfroe. It's going to be the high 80s in this game in Kansas City. Winds about 15 miles per hour out to left field. I'm taking familiarity here. Bobby Witt higher than half of a home run in this game. Weather is going to be good. Bobby Witt can hit on Tristan McKenzie. Last one, we're going against the right-handed batter who specializes in hitting lefties, a little bit off the beaten path. Randal Grichuk, higher than half of a home run versus JP Sears and the Oakland Athletics. Let's just look at this snapshot of last season. He faced JP Sears 3 times when he was on the Angels and the Rockies. He had a home run in 2 of those games versus Sears. He only hit 16 home runs on the season, so an eighth of his home runs of the 2023 season came against JP Sears. Weather should be fine in this game. And again, I just think that Grichuk is a little bit off the beaten path here, and he's a guy who's a lefty specialist, batting .312 against batting 312 against. I'm sorry, he's batting 312 against lefties. So I'm going to do this as a flex play. You can do a full standard play if you're kind of crazy, but the flex play is if this goes 3 for 3, 63x return on your money, $10 to win 630. If it goes 2 for 3, it's 10.5x, so 10 to win 105. And if you go true psycho mode and put these in a standard play, it's $10 to win 1260, 126x, 125 to 1 in betting parlance. So the daily dongs are Anthony Santander, Bobby Witt, and Randal Grichuk. You can use these as singles if you have sports books that offer these markets as well. So lastly, the sad part of the day, we got to go and talk about how on Thursday we went 2 for 3 on our plays once again. So frustrating to keep doing this, especially when the first two come home. Like I called basically everything correctly in the Twins Diamondbacks game. I tried to fade Jordan Montgomery every way possible, and he got annihilated. So that came home with Royce Lewis higher than 1.5 total bases. Then I took Trey over 1.5 total bases versus Trevor Rogers and the Marlins. He got a double. He was awesome again. I mean, he's, like I said, it just, in these games, when you're getting a flat multiplier with a guy as fast as Trey Turner versus a team that doesn't have the greatest starting pitcher and a bad bullpen, you just got to put him in your slip. And then next we had Aaron Judge higher than 1.5 total bases, didn't come home. The whole vibe of that game was thrown off. The whole vibe of that game was terrible. Carlos Rodon got crushed early and often in that game and kind of deflated the whole Yankees roster. At least that's how I felt. They're also dealing with a lot of injuries, and they've got a lot of different guys in the lineup right now who are not quite as scary as having like Giancarlo Stanton in the middle of your lineup. So the whole offense has suffered quite a bit, at least it did on Thursday. And then my little dong recap, Josh Bell had some powerful hits. He had some good contact, but none of them went over the fence. That's going to happen. Obviously, Judge didn't do jack you-know-what, and Byron Buxton got there, so that was good. Also, if you have Twitter and YouTube, you saw my short promo play with Caitlin Clark. We almost got there. I don't need to run through all those plays, but it was kind of close, kind of annoying because the Cardinals game against the Reds was just kind of a one-way shellacking. But yeah, still make sure you're following me on Twitter. You're following me on YouTube for short plays. I will be putting out an Alex Pereira promo on Underdog for UFC 303, higher than half of a significant strike, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. But that is it for now. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, help grow this show if you like the content and the information I put out there. And if you don't hate the way that I talk extremely fast and not masculine, according to that Twitter article I brought up on the show last week. So that is it. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Let's make some money.